Hey everyone, how you doing? Today we are going to be talking RDAs. It's been a long time coming. I was going to do it ages ago, but we're finally going to do it. So I get asked the question quite a lot. I see it on our mixing club on Facebook, questions about RDAs. So we're just going to go ahead and do a simple build on one. It'll still be a decent build, but we're going to do a very simple build on one. This is purely for beginners. Just going to kind of explain to you a couple of things to make sure you don't kill yourself while you're doing it. Not that it's that bad, but it can be it can go bad. It can go south real quick if you get it wrong. So what we're going to do, we're going to use the Velocity RDA, and you've probably heard of the Velocity style deck. This is it here. You've got a negative and a positive, and it's really easy to build on. Just put each side of the coil in each one and tighten them up. A lot easier than what came before it. They could be a bit of a pain in the butt, some of them. And I've got it all broken down. We are going to do a close-up view in a minute, and it'll show me turning the coils and putting them in here, and the dog flapping his ears as usual. He's been asleep right up until I turned the camera off and I said the first word. So thank you. So anyway, let's go over what you'll need. First of all, I've got an ohm meter. I do suggest you get one. If you haven't got one and you need to build it on your mod. Just make sure the mod's turned off while you're putting coils in there and while you're tightening stuff down, so otherwise you can push on the trigger and go ahead and short everything out. So just make sure that it is turned off if you're going to build on it. But once you have built on it, you can go ahead and turn it on and it will read the ohms for you. And if it reads the ohms fine, then you've done it right. If it says atomizer short, or what else does it say on there? Something about the atomizer. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. But yeah, if you see an error message on there, then you know you've not done it right. But you are better off doing it on one of these because they're so easy to build on. Just screw the deck in. You've got this nice solid platform, and it doesn't move because it's got rubbers on the bottom of it. This is the Coil Master 521 tab. It goes forward like that, and it'll read ohms. Come back this way, and you can use the fire button to pulse up the coils afterwards. So let's just do a quick, let's explain something real quick. You've heard all the horror stories about people blowing up batteries and blowing part of their face off, and it's in the news, and you've probably heard people say, well, it's their own damn fault, and everything is. Most of the time it is, unless they've got a faulty piece of equipment. But most of the time is because they build far too low on these things. And when I say low, I'm talking about ohms. I'm not going to go through the whole of Ohm's law with you, but I'm going to show you a build that will get you somewhere between 0.2 and 0.5 ohms. Be somewhere in there, which is a safe range, and you're still well in the sub ohm range, and get that nice flavor and good hit and good ramp up. But you don't want to build lower than that until you get used to building. And I'm going to be using 24 gauge Canthal today. Don't use anything smaller than this, smaller number, which is a bigger gauge. So 22 gauge Canthal is a thicker wire. 26 is a thinner wire. I would say get 26. That's what I would actually go for the complete newcomer. I'm going to use 24 today because it's so easy to work with, and you'll see why. It really is easy to put a coil together. So let's just describe ohms. Let's describe the current and things like that. The best way I can describe it, I'm going to use two flavor bottles right here, is this is 26 gauge Canthal, and this one here is 22. Actually, let's go even more extreme. All right, 28 and 22. Now, in order to put current through this one, you don't have to put that much through there. It's a small space, so you've not got as much current going through. As this one takes a lot of current to get the power through there. And you can see there's not as much resistance. It just if you were to flow water through these two, this one wouldn't take as much water pressure. This one would. This one actually is got more resistance but takes a smaller amount of water, if you see what I mean. Whereas this one hasn't got the same amount of resistance. So when you hear about resistance, it's talking about how it resists electricity. The more it resists, the quicker it heats up with less energy. So if you're using something like this mod here, which is an IPv4S, I can't remember if it does 220 now. I think it got upgraded. No, does it? No, it doesn't do that much, does it? Does 120? I can't remember what it does. It's so long ago. I got another one here that does 250. It's got 3 batteries in it. I vape it all day on 75 watts at 0.32 ohms. It goes all day long and a little bit more on it. And I vape quite a lot. I vape about 15 to 20 mil of juice a day. So if I was to build the ohms lower, I'd have to take the wattage higher to give it more current, because it's not got as much resistance. So the more ohms, the more resistance. The smaller the wire, the more resistance. So you don't want anything with too small a resistance. 22 gauge wire has not got much resistance. 24 hasn't got a great deal, but we're going to do some extra wraps on it. So with that said, I know it's a lot to take in, but I'm not going to go too much into Ohm's law. But what we got to make sure of is that our positive and negatives are not shorted out. We need to be a nice clean connection between both of them. Make sure they're away from the posts, and I'll show you all this in the close-up in a minute. But let's go through what we got. We got an ohm meter. We've got our velocity RDA. We got some 24 gauge canthal. We got some wire cutters to cut the canthal with. I've got some grips to pull the canthal with, because I'd like to give it a little tug afterwards. I've got some organic cotton. You don't have to use this. You can use your cotton bacon, your Japanese cotton, whatever you feel comfortable with. I just happen to like organic cotton. I've got several different sizes of drill bit precision screwdrivers, because I do have drill bits here as well. This one here is for doing up the grub nuts on the RDA, and I do have drill bits. Again, it's just to turn the coils around. You can hold them like that and wrap your coil around a drill bit, and you've got all these different sizes here. I tend to use a precision screwdriver most of the time. I still have these laying around there. Good thing with the precision screwdriver is you can kind of hold it really nice and wrap it around. Oh, I've got 2 sets of scissors. Brand new set and a slightly older set. That's the older ones, they're flimsy. That's to cut the cotton wool with. And then I've got some ceramic tweezers. That's to pinch the coils up afterwards. Once we've made them and installed them and we've fired them and got them glowing, they will not glow evenly, so we need these to squeeze them up and strum them and do whatever we got to do, but we'll see all that in a minute. And then I got myself an IPv4, which actually it says check atomizer. That's what it says if you don't get it, if you don't get your build right. What we do then, let's go ahead and cut from here, and we'll go down closer, take a closer look. Move all this shit out of the way. Alright folks, I'll see you in a minute. Alright folks, here we are, down and dirty, ready to get a build on. Okay, here's the velocity style deck inside the ohm reader, and I'm going to leave him right there. The rest of this we will kind of put together. It's got these 2 pieces here. This is the base, and this is the one that screws on over the top and gives you adjustable airflow, which I never use the extra 2. I'd still close down this quite a bit, probably around about there, and it does look like Terrence and Phillip off of South Park. That's what I like about it. So let's see, I do it round about there. I don't have these 2 holes open. I just like to do it like that and have about that much open. This one here just screws in, and I believe it's Delrin. Okay, and then the way that goes is it just slides on over the top like that. So that's what you'll get when you receive one of these. I do highly recommend getting this, especially if it's your first RDA, you're not sure what to get. There are better ones out there, of course, and some people will say, oh, you want to get this, it's the best one out there, it's the best flavour, it's the best this, it's the best that. This, for me, is the best for a beginner. Some of the other RDAs do have this style deck, but you should be able to pick up one of these real cheap. They're very reliable, very well made. I can't really say enough about it, and the taste is very good. Okay, so let's go ahead and move this out the way, and we will go ahead and get some cantha white. This is 24 gauge, and what we'll do, we're going to get 2 sections of it out. We're going to make 2 coils. There's one piece, and there's the next one. Just make sure that goes in there, because I've had many of these rolls ping all over the place and I had to go and wrap them up, and it causes hell of a mess. Okay, so what I would do first of all is get your screwdriver, which size you want, and just offer it in there and see how big you want this coil. I'm going to make mine maybe a little bigger than I normally do. Sorry, that's the garage door opener. Actually, let's go middle. Let's go this one. That's in between there. There we go, that's perfect. See, look, it gives me enough away from the posts and enough away from the outside of the deck, this part here. I want it to fall right here. So, okay, this is where we'll start. Get the end up like this. Pinch it with your finger. Turn this once over the top, so it comes all the way around, and I actually call that 2 wraps, because if you look over the top now, look, you've actually got 2. Then from there I start counting. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is a rough guess, and then what I like to do then, see, I'm just making this to measure this thing right here, this velocity deck, so it's so it fits in there nicely. We can do a few more turns. Let's do a couple more. So it's 10 turns, which is a lot of turns. A lot of people, you know, only use but this is 24 gauge cantha, so it's got a lot less resistance. So doing more turns around a slightly bigger screwdriver than I normally use is actually going to up the resistance a little bit. So rather than it being down like 0.2 of an ohm, where you've only got, you know, 3, 4, 5 turns, I'm actually doubling that, making sure that we don't get too low at ohms. Alright, so I've pulled them out either way. What I'll do now is I'll snip the one leg off shorter than the other. Reason for that is because when you offer it in here, look, you can get one in there real easy and then put the other one in. If you've got them both the same length and you try and get them both in, you end up fiddle fucking with it for quite a while. Okay, so anyway, idiot here done the wrong thing, of course. Alright, so what you've got one end that comes out at the bottom of the coil, and you've got another end that comes out at the top of the coil. You see what I mean? This comes over the top, this one comes from under the bottom. So the one over the top goes in the top hole on one side, which is, that side is your negative, and this one is the positive. So top hole on that one side and bottom hole on the other side. Then we'll just hold him there, and we'll go ahead and do him up. What I like to do is just make sure that he's, there we go, just make sure he's a nice distance away from the deck. Do them up real nice and tight. And then what we're going to do is turn the ohm meter on and see what we got with one coil. I'm thinking we probably have a like 0.8 or something like that is what I'm hoping. Oh God, I still know what I'm talking about, thank God. 0.86. And that was a guess. So right, we'll go ahead and snip this off because that is where we want to be. I said somewhere between 0.2 and 0.5. And it looks like we'll end up with about 0.4, which is a nice safe place to be. Do you notice I put my finger over there and then snipped with my finger on the end of the canthe? If you don't, you'll snip it and the canthe will ping everywhere, and a couple of days later you'll end up standing on it, and it's not a good day out. Let me double check these turns. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 I count. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so we got 11 turns. See, so if I had done 10 turns, it would have been 0.8. Not 0.86. So it would have been perfect. Okay. Alright, that should be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's just check we got 10 and not 11. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Right, we wanted one more for 11 to match the other coil. Both coils need to be exactly the same, just as close as you can get them to being the same. Then we're going to pull on this side, tighten them up. And we're going to pull on this side and tighten them up. Cut one leg off smaller than the other one. We'll just do right there. And we will go ahead and turn this around, and we're feeding in from the other side. Again, the one that comes over the top goes up the top, and the one that comes out the bottom goes down the bottom. We'll go ahead and get our tool and do up the grub nut. Make sure we got that. Yeah, we want it looking just like the other side. I kind of pulled on him a little bit there. I want just the same amount of end showing as the other side. There we go. This one I can just hold there with my finger. Make sure he's just off a little bit. Tighten him a touch and then really give him a good old turn. I have got an Allen wrench for this somewhere. No, but I think it's I thought I knew where it was, but it wasn't. So I'm using this one instead, which does it up pretty tight. Okay, let's go ahead and snip that one off. You obviously have to be careful you don't cut the coil on the other side. And get that one, make sure we hold on to the end so it doesn't ping that piece of canthe off everywhere. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. Next thing is tidying it up. Like you can see, look, they're not parallel with each other. They're kind of close to the posts. And so what we're going to do, we're going to put our screwdriver back in. We're going to pull away from the post and upwards. Get him so he's nice and centered between the posts. This will help tidy him up, get the coils bunched up closer. And we'll do the same with the other side. Pull out and up slightly. This one's got a bit of spring in it. Is he in there properly? No. Yep, he is. He's just got a bit of spring to him. I think what I'll do before I dry burn them is just check that they are tightened up everywhere. Yeah, this one needs to be pulled out slightly on this side. Yeah, this one's definitely got a bit more springiness in him. Okay, so let's go around and tighten up every post again. They really need to be snug down. The more snug they are, the better connection you got. It can really make a huge difference. It can make the difference between your mod firing it and not firing it. Okay, there we go. Right, we'll read the ohms. There we go, 0.41. That's now we've got 2 in there, see, at half the ohms of the. So if you've got 1 in there, it was 0.8. You put another 1 in, and you've half the resistance. because you've got two of them. So you've got two taking the current across. So you've split that in half. Right, now we're going to go ahead and fire it. If you don't have one of these, now's the time to get the mod out, stick it in the top of the mod and fire it using the mod. I'm going to use this as the mod and give it a fire. And what I'm doing is pulsing, not holding down too long. You hear that? You hear see how uneven that is coming up. This is where these come in, and what we'll do is we'll just push them together like so. Hold them there a bit, let them cool down. What happens with metal like this, when it's heated up like that, it becomes a little bit more pliable, and then when it cools down, it goes back and forms its shape. It actually strengthens it. So what they do with a lot of metals, heat them up and then quickly cool them. And tempering is what they call it, I believe. I guess this is kind of the same thing. Makes it sound like I know what I'm talking about. Okay, we want them both glowing at exactly the same time. So you can see, look, it's still a bit uneven. So we'll just strum them out. And they're getting closer. This one over here is still a little bit, is firing up a bit faster. So what I'm going to do is find the post holes for the other one and just give him a little bit more of a, just make sure he's snug down real good. Remember, these are hot. Okay, and they are very hot. If I was to touch that, then that would have been my that would have been the imprint of those on my skin. Oh, he about to fire it with the button down there. Okay, let's get them fired again. Actually, before we go too far, let's go ahead and straighten them out again, because now I've put the tweezers in there. And again, go very careful not to burn your fingers. Get them nice and centered, so they're straight along from each other. Look this way. You can see that there's ones, they're slightly different. He's good that way, so this one just needs tilting down a little bit. There we go. And he's good that way. Okay, now this is where we don't want to mess them too much anymore, except to try and get them to glow at the same rate, the same time. Yeah, this one's still coming on quicker. There we go, that's better. See if we can just do them a tiny bit more. There, we are good. So now we've got that far, let's just let them cool down a little bit, and we'll take a look at what we've got. We've got two coils in there. Let's turn the ohm. The ohms will change after you do that stuff. They're now 0.46. So we're in a nice area. You don't have to give this too much juice to fire it up, but it is 24 gauge and there are 10 ramps. So it's going to take a bit of juice for them to get ramped up. Your first hit may not ramp up too quick, but after that, once they get warmed up, it's going to it'll hit like a train. Oh, excuse me. Let me get a drink. Okay, so just let them cool down just a touch and blow on them. Make sure that the ohm meter is turned off, because I don't want that firing when I'm doing this. And what we're doing is we're going to grab some cotton. You've got to make sure that those coils are cooled down, because otherwise it will burn the cotton as it goes in. What we're doing is split this down the middle. Well, that's kind of the middle. It wasn't a very good middle, but we got a long enough piece here that we can I think we can get them both out of this. Yeah, we'll be fine here. So what I'm going to do is just pull them apart right there. He says, I think we'll be doing this bit again. And as you know, I don't edit videos. I like people to see what does happen in real life. Yeah, these two loose. So we'll start again. I know why. I've done it with a bigger screwdriver. Bigger screwdriver, wider hole. Need more cotton. All we're doing is just teasing the lumps out. Just opening up the fibres. We're not pressing, we're just dragging our finger across it. Just thinning it out slightly and just getting all these little bits out. If you're using other cotton, you probably won't have this problem, but it's not a problem. It's just how to get those fibres nicely lined up. And you can't, organic cotton I just really like using, and it's so damn cheap. Like a bag of it lasts me like a year, and it costs like $5 from the pharmacy. But make sure it's organic. Don't just go buy any cotton balls, because they are perfumed and bleached and all sorts of stuff. You don't want to be vaping that. You want 100% organic. I've actually even got, I live in a state where they grow cotton, and I've actually picked the cotton out of the field and used that, and it's very good. Of course, the only trouble is, I thought about it afterwards, I was like, well, maybe it's got pesticides on it. So it doesn't matter what you do, you can't get it fresh enough. But it did work very well. And the fibres are very open in that, they're a lot bigger. There we go. So you don't want much resistance on it. You just want the fluff out on the ends. Right, and the next thing, now the wicking is probably like one of the most important things. If you don't get it right, it spits. It doesn't draw enough, it'll dry hip, it can oversaturate, and all sorts of things. You see lots of people just cut the very end off and tuck them under and do all that shit. That's not me. What I'm going to do is, though, this is a little, not so much a trick, it's not a big clever thing, but I use a nice bit of 24 gauge canthal and cut it off just to the right length. I've got my trusted piece somewhere, but I'm not going to get up and get it. And then I'll put a little bend in it just to hold on to it. I'll leave that there, and we will cut the ends of this off. What you want to do is kind of see where the bottom of the deck is. Imagine where it is, and cut that off. You don't want to be pulling it down too tight. You want it just to be in the deck and have a little bit left over. So enough to touch the deck and just fold slightly. I don't like having too much of this stuff in the deck, so this one about the same length. And then these the same. There we go. And then what we're doing, we are not pushing this in, we're not forcing it in. Fluff the ends up. And just ease them in there. Keep these fibres open. Just ease them down into the well. It looks like I'm giving them a good stab, but I'm actually poking them with the point and not really closing the fibres up. And I just like to make sure that that bit there is just nice and fluffy. And we'll do the same with the other side. This is quite a bit of cotton. It's probably a little bit more than I normally use, but I think we'll be fine with it. The most important piece is to get airflow up underneath. You know what? I am not happy with that. We're going to take him out. We're going to trim him up. It's definitely just a little bit too much. Give him a trim all round. It's just trial and error. I'll put it in, not happy with it. You're better off to fix it. And I think it's good to see videos like this where not everything's done perfect every time. because that's not how it works in real life, as you all know. Alright, we just get that bit out where I cut it and push the fibres together a bit. Okay, we'll just offer him in there again. That's more like it. Now he's barely touching the bottom. There. It ain't no good having it all full up with cotton. You want room for juice to be in there. All you need the cotton for is to take the juice to the wick. Sorry, to the coil. That's what it should look like so, with a nice gap underneath. So one thing I didn't cover is why use an RDA in the first place? Why not just go out and buy a tank and buy the coils that they manufacture for them? Well, that's fine and dandy, but you can never get it made exactly how you want. With this, you've got so much more freedom to make a coil to get it to taste just like you want it to. This is very simple. This is as simple as it gets. What we've done is just turn some 11 turns of 24 gauge. And it's about as easy a build as you can get because this is a beginner video. But you could do all sorts of crazy builds in here. All these different Claptons, fused Claptons and twisted wire and all sorts of stuff. But we're keeping it nice and simple. But you've got so much more headroom to do stuff, and I think the taste is a lot purer when using an RDA. What I'm going to do is, should I put my all-day vape in there, or should we do something else? I've got some beard number 7 over here. I would like some of that tonight. Actually, I got gummy bear. Let's go gummy bear. That beard number 71 is some naughty shit. I'm trying to clone it, but I want to vape it all. Maybe I'll need to order another 60ml just so I can vape it. Okay, so now we're going to put it on the mod. We're not sure how many watts we're going to fire through this thing yet. So I'm going to start off low. I think this thing's probably on about 70 right now. I'm probably going to take it down to about 40. So there it is. It's on the mod. Let's get a little bit of Canthal again and just open these up because I had my thumbs around them. Sure, we got plenty of room. Yeah, I just moved that out of place a bit. Okay. There he is, 0.46. I'm on 60 watts. I'm going to turn this down. Let's go 30. And what I'll do is, I'm just going to drop a few drops, if you see this, along the top of the coil. Nowhere else, just the coil, and then hit the fire button. Half a second at a time, and it draws it in. That's how I do my tanks and everything else. Now, as I was saying, why use one of these? One is the freedom of it. Another one is the pure taste. They're easy to clean out. They are messy. Not as messy as a tank. If that thing leaks, you leak a tank full over you. But these are messy. And then you've got to keep on dripping more juice in there. But if you've got the time, I use them at home. I don't take them to work very often. Although I do. There's sometimes I do, but it's not very often. I'd rather use a tank for work because then I fill it and forget it. I don't have to keep messing with it. But when I come home, it's nearly always an RDA. I say I just like the freedom of it. You can build whatever. Well, you can build whatever you like in tanks as well. But there's just something about this. There's just something about the pureness of it. See, now I've done that, put some in the well, I've got some in the coil. This is already getting wet on the sides. Just make sure that we keep that apart. We'll stick a little bit underneath the coil. Oh, I'm really saturating this. Get a little bit up here. When you wick, make sure, you know, I fluffed the wicks up and I put them in and I made sure that they were still fluffy. Make sure that this bit here is higher than the coil. You want it fluffed back because you want juice to come to the top of the coil. A lot of people bend them down and they leave a hole there. Just fluff them back and have them higher than the coil. Alright, we're going to take a hit of this. Well, do you know what? I'm going to leave it just like that. Let me restart the video, because we're coming up to 28 minutes and it will want to turn off in a minute. So let's restart it and I'll be right back. Alright folks, we're back. As you can see, nothing happened, nothing changed in that time. This frame is exactly the same. So I like to make sure that you folks know that I'm not conning you here and made a special build behind the scenes or anything. It is exactly the same one. That cotton now is soaked up a bit more of that. So what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to go around and get the camera and bring it around the FaceTime so you can actually see this going. I'm going to let you go through all the motions of me moving the camera, because like I said, I like solid proof that this thing works properly and I'm not conning you. We don't want no fancy edits in between and then me vaping on a big old coil that I never made in the video and making it look like I'm really good. So instead we're going to do it like this. You get to see everything here. There's the rat's cage and here's all the flavours. It's not in very good focus right now. I've got to bring the tripod out. Got to shorten the legs up. All this so you know that I'm doing this real. Because I swear some other channels don't. They must screw up. We all do. We're all human. They obviously edit it out. Not that's a bad thing, you know. Having crisp, clean videos is good, but I still think having the raw ones really do help. Alright, let's see. I think, let's make sure we're still... Alright, I think we need to be around there somewhere and focused. There we go. Okay, let's see what we got. That was the chair, I didn't fart. Okay. Alright, and that's on 30 watts. That's not going to be enough. See, hardly anything. Definitely want something like 60, I think. Double what we just had. 60, there we go. Really nice. How easy was that build? I've got this one has got fused Clapton in it. I've got another RDA with fused Claptons in it. Yes, the taste is a little better, but it ain't by much. It really isn't. This has got a nice, clean, pure taste as well. Nice thick vapor. Oh, smoke alarm. Go on, stay down, stay down. Well, there you go. I don't think I've got a lot more to add to it. I'm sure as I'm editing this and getting ready to upload it, I'll think, oh shit, I forgot to tell them about that. But I think I got everything. All the equipment I used here, there are going to be links underneath this video for where you can buy it. I'm going to put a link to this one, and I'm going to put a link to the kit. It comes with this and everything else you need to build RDA, rather than having to piecemeal it together. They're like 45 bucks, something like that, on Amazon. I think they are worth it, because by the time you buy these little things, okay, this thing cost me about $4. This one was about 20, I think. And then you've got all these other bits, manicure kits, like $10 from a CVS. By the time you add it all up, you're spending that anyway. You know, precision screwdrivers, pair of pliers, ceramic tweezers. You know, some people say, oh, you get that's not worth it. You're getting conned. You know, it is worth just buying the kit. Comes in a nice little bag. You just open it up and go for it. I wish that's what I had done when I first started, rather than Well, the thing was, I already had this other stuff, a lot of it anyway. I had a lot of tools. So, let's see. Is there anything else I'm missing, Chris? Because I always miss something from these videos. I guess you still want to see some vapor. Now you can go ahead and drip. You'll know when it's getting drier. You'll feel it, especially when you first primed it like I did then. It will go dry pretty quick. So you can tell there the richness is not quite there. It's probably just drying out a little bit. It is a bit, not much, but I like to take the lid off, and then I like to drip down between the coils, right in there until I can actually see it come up. There we go. Got a ton of it in there. You can even put a couple of drops on top of the coil as well. Make sure that your holes are directly in front of the coils. So there's the coils right there. There's the holes directly in front. So as you're vaping this in, the air is coming through straight over the coils and taking that vapor straight up into your mouth. It's just like drinking the juice. It's really rich. It's very nice. By the way, this juice is gummy bears. It's Flavor West gummy bear, 3% in VG, not sweetened. It's just great as it is. Just 3% gummy bear in VG, and some nicotine. So no recipe there. Just put 3% in, and you've got a great vape. I go to it quite a lot. Actually, I need to make some more. It's one of those things where I'm not quite sure what I want to vape. I know the smoke alarm's going to go off in a second. When you're not sure what I want, where I'm not sure what I want to vape, I normally go pick up gummy bear. Ah, that's some good shit. Alright, well, I'm not going to bore you with any more shit. Appreciate you watching. Come back and see me. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. If you don't, there's a thumbs down button as well. Anyway, just let me know what you think in the comments, and I hope this helps you. If there's anything I did miss out, let me know. I'll include it in a later video. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks, and come back and see me.